So about a week or so ago, I did a segment talking about the fact that China is basically winning the trade war against Donald Trump. The trade war he started, but they're winning. And the reason I said that at the time, of course, is because China was not only not negotiating in any way with Donald Trump. In fact, they had come out publicly, Chinese officials, and said, no, we haven't talked to them at all. And we actually don't even have plans to, which completely destroyed Trump's, claim that, oh no, we're talking to him every day. And China's like, no, you're not. They've also, as I've repeatedly said, worked out trade deals with other countries to buy goods that they had previously been buying from the United States. They're doing just fine. We're the ones getting screwed. And now China has come up with a new way to make Donald Trump look even dumber with his trade war. Because China still understands that, look, the United States is a big market. We don't want to lose that market. Our manufacturers here don't want to lose that market. But we also don't want, Americans to hike the prices by 145% because then they're going to buy less, which 145% is the tariff Trump has put on Chinese goods. China doesn't pay that. The importers here in the United States do. So how is China going to get around 145% tariff? It's not an easy thing to do, except for the fact that it's a very, very easy thing to do. Because what has happened is that China has once again outsmarted Donald Trump, and they've just said, okay, if we ship a good from China to the United States, it's 145% tariff. But if that Chinese good comes from a different country, then either it has no tariff or it's only got a 10% tariff. So we'll just have our goods take a little detour through another country, and then they'll send it to the United States, and then boom, we're only paying, or the importers are only paying 10%. And yes, that's what they've been doing. But they're not doing it alone. What's actually happened is that other countries, Malaysia being one of them, has reached out to China and said, hey, listen, and let me read this. The U.S. has imposed tariffs on Chinese products, transit through Malaysia to transform into Southeast Asian goods. That's the message, like word for word, that they're literally sending to these manufacturers in China, like, hey, you don't want to sell less because U.S. will have to raise the prices. Come through here. Now, to be clear, U.S. Customs does in fact have a law in place like you can't skirt the tariff just by sending it through another country. It has to undergo what they call a substantial change. A substantial change. Substantial transformation, I guess, is actually the phrase that Customs uses. So you can't just have the ship go to Malaysia, they slap a new label on it from Malaysia, and you only pay 10% when you bring it in. That ain't how it works. However, substantial change, that phrase leaves a lot of gray area. So here is what the manufacturers in China can do when skirting this 145% import tariff over here. Now, first and foremost, and look, I'm not telling anybody how to skirt the law. I'm just telling you things that we see happening, okay? I'm not giving instructions, don't get me wrong. So what they can do, because they've already been popped, right? This is actually something that's been going on for a couple weeks now. So, Malaysia, other Southeast Asian countries have been trying to do this, and they've gotten popped by their own countries because what they had originally been doing is just slapping new labels on the original packaging. Like, you can't do that. So they take the product that comes from China and they unbox it. They can hold it for, a couple days, maybe even a couple weeks, so that it's not blatantly obvious. It's, basically product laundering to avoid tariffs. Then they repackage it in totally new packaging, obviously, including the product itself sometimes. We will take it out. So that is what they would consider a substantial transformation. But another way that some companies are going to, potentially start doing this is, say you have a product, right? And the product comes in little bitty packaging. In order for it to undergo a substantial transformation in a different country to therefore change the country of origin, what you do is you ship the two things separately, right? The item is not included in the packaging when it's shipped from China to Malaysia. Then in Malaysia, it undergoes this substantial transformation of they take the product, they take the package, they put the product in the package, now we got a new thing. This is not what came into the country. We have now assembled a new thing, and therefore we avoid the tariffs. Let me kind of point it out to you this way, although this is a far more complicated process. It's like the US will import steel that we use for automobiles. And then those automobiles are shipped to other countries for sale. But because that steel underwent the substantial transformation, becoming pieces of an automobile, it's now a fully US product, right? Well, this one is not quite as complicated. We're not reassembling the stuffed animals or whatever it is, but substantial transformation leaves a lot of room for gray area. Chinese exporters are taking advantage of it. Other countries are working with them because they're clearly not working with Donald Trump on their own trade deals. Like he says, they're not doing it. They're all just trying to find ways to skirt the US and continue to make Donald Trump look like a blithering idiot. Did you know that you might be missing out on wonderful content from me? I mean, you're here already because clearly you like what you see. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video, share them with your friends and family, but also follow me across the rest of the social media world. And it's not that hard to do. Whether it's X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, on every one of those platforms, you can find me at the username @FarronBalanced. Simple enough, right? So get on it. And if you don't feel like going to each one of those outlets individually, lucky for you, we have links in the description of this video to take you right to my pages across all of social media. So don't miss a minute. And while you're at it, make sure you're also subscribed to the Ring of Fire YouTube channel, which I have been hosting for many, many years now. We've got more than 1 million subscribers over there, and there is fresh content over there every single day of the week. So again, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to this channel, and while you're at it, go subscribe to Ring of Fire at youtube.com/The Ring of Fire and @FarronBalanced across every social media platform. That, of course, is not considered just a far-right hellscape. Well, maybe Twitter is, but that's a story for a different day.